Hey, what is going on, everybody? We are about to get this thing started. I'm going to let this roll for a little bit. I got a little video intro here for you guys to watch that is USTE related, and it's their long jumping. And so I thought I'd just play that as we wait for people to join us. If you're joining at a later date, later time, we'll put a little link in the description, a time. If you click on that, it'll take you right to where the video starts. So let me try to figure out how to do this. You'll see JB the voice dancing around out there with the GoPro on the stick.
There he goes. Oh! Gonna land on it. Gonna land on it. Oh!
Never break. I got that, JB. Oh. Man. I mean, those are tanks. Oh, I thought that boss was a goner.
Oh, there goes the tire.
If they're going for distance, you want that low. Oh! That one marks itself. In this video, you get to see JB Justin Brown getting a workout. Oh! You're bouncing, right? Wow!
Where did it land?
Keep going, keep going. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Right there. There's Joe, Exo Caged RC.
Nice. Oh!
Wow,
Nice.
That's it.
That's right, Rob. That doesn't count. Herbie Jr. Where's it at? Oh, got it around, barely. Oh my goodness.
I tell you what, that car sailed. It's like it had wings on it. Old school 5T.
Oh.
Speaking of Axial Cage, he's in the house. Along with RC Propaganda, JB the Voice, 11 Charlie Swampers RC, who I've got some photos from our little time out on the trail.
Take your barrel roll.
Sean's RC Adventures, who bailed on us all.
Yeah.
Lots of people in. Welcome, everybody.
There
We'll
you
get
go
started
again.
in just a moment.
Almost every one of those jumps, and now he's broke.
Oh, Casey's dancing. Oh, double hit.
Oh, there's an armor. There's an armor.
Whoa.
Way up.
Ooh.
Shady silhouetted images and industry teasers are finding their way into our homes and invading our minds. Their calculated information is delivered to feed our addiction for radio-controlled frequencies. It's an RC conspiracy. But we are on your side, cracking the RC code. Because the truth is out there. Welcome to the RC Conspiracies podcast. Get your decoder rings ready and put on those tinfoil hats because your fearless leader is here. Please welcome your host, the lead RC conspiracist, Tony Cece. Welcome to the RC Conspiracies podcast.
Hey, what is going on, you guys? Juicebox just joined us as well. Lots of people here, lots of people that went to the USTE, and man, oh man, it was pretty awesome. I'm not going to hide it. We're not going to get into this and make it drawn out and be like, well, I'm not sure what I think about it. It was amazing. We've got pictures to prove it. We'll talk about it. Some of the highlights, they talk about maybe going bigger next year and moving some things around. What does that look like? A few thoughts I might have for that, but man, overall, you can tell it's their 5th year. It felt very organized. Great team of volunteers. They just kept everything moving on time, maybe even a little ahead of schedule on a few things. The monster truck racing, they just kind of rolled that right after the other one. So yeah, it was really, really well done, even with the heavy rain that we got on Friday. So I have lots more videos still to come from USTE. So there's that. I know Exo Cage has just dropped a bunch of awesome ones, so definitely check his out. I've seen a lot of really good videos actually from their OMGRC just posted one as well. So they're all over, and I really, really hope to be back next year. And I will say there was definitely, for a monster truck guy, there was definitely enough monster trucking to fill that need that I have to run monster trucks. So that was really cool as well. Yeah, I mean, there was just so many positives about the event, from the people to the place that they had it to everything, but my internet situation was amazing. The internet, however, at the location itself was pretty good. But where we stayed, when I went back to try and work on stuff and upload it, the first video took 20 some hours, 22 hours to upload. I bet if I'd have just brought my computer with me and uploaded from my laptop on a hotspot through my phone, it probably would have only taken an hour. So craziness. So JB the Voice says he has a great clip of my monster truck, the LMT, doing backflips off the side of the ramp. That's cool. I did one of them during the long jump. I didn't get back out for the big air stuff because I was trying to film it all. And that's kind of the, you have to weigh that. And there was never really a break where I'm like, I'm going to go back out there and run it again and high jump it. So, but the racing they did was pretty wicked for the monster trucks and for the vintage buggies. So I may have to try to get a vintage buggy because that looked like a lot of fun. So, yeah. Brian Taff is in the house. Earl Moorhead, welcome. Yeah, we get pretty good. Verizon's usually pretty decent. It actually stunk just outside of Universal as well in Kissimmee. It was kind of where we were staying, is right there on the outskirts of Orlando at a KOA. And, all the way until about 5 minutes from where we were staying, we had great coverage, and then it was just 3 bars but no data. It was really weird. Same thing happened at the other campground, 2 to 3 bars, but none of it. It was LTE, but there was 0 data. And the internet at the parks was not great, but it's all right. First world problems. Very first world problems. Kevin Gibbs says, Justin, I'm lining up all USTE videos for my night's enjoyment. That's a great idea. There's a ton of great videos out there. I want to get through. There's a couple of conspiracy things that kind of happened. We'll kind of hit on those and then kind of move on from there. Nothing like earth-shattering. Although the one earth-shattering one, in my opinion, isn't this. We'll look at this. There's another ARMA that's been leaked. I mean, box shots, all kinds of stuff, called the Vortex, which is something they had previously as far as a name, but this is going to fit into their 3S lineup. So it's interesting. The wheels, tires on it, got a wing. So I'm kind of like wondering, almost granite size with the wing. I don't know. I haven't looked too much at the specs of it. I'll wait to see what all the details are. But it kind of looks like it could be. I don't know who's leaking it, but Aussie RC Playground mentioned who it was. I don't remember who the company was, but it sounds like they were somebody that leaked one of the other things. So they're getting their hands on them somehow. And the EXB8S. Oh, yes, the EXB8S. That's the other one that they leaked. Big Squid's got some more USTE videos coming as well. So that's awesome to hear. So here on RC Conspiracies, the Vortex was one of them that was pointed out. There's also a Proline mud tire type thing that's looking pretty awesome. Very aggressive. And here they showed in here the 1-to-1 extreme snorkels. So they're wondering if it's for the Rift or whatever. Could be like a rock tire as well, I guess, not just a mud tire. It kind of looks like it could dual purpose. But yeah, it definitely could fit that rock bouncer. I'm a monster truck guy, so I immediately think that would be great for mud. So there was that. Lots of other little things. But the big thing, lots from HPI Racing. Savage XL Flux GTXL1. But we also saw that RC Driver had a post asking which HPI video to unbox first. He had 3 boxes of HPI stuff, so it's some crazy stuff coming. But yeah, that's kind of an interesting thing because we were just talking about that at USTE. Some of us, HPI, what happened, all of that. And then literally while we were there, boom, somebody sent me a text message saying, hey, I think it was Kagan, Green Frog, sent me the stuff about HPI. But yeah, I couldn't really get to it to see it. I couldn't see any of the stuff going on with the drama because I couldn't get any of it to load. And just, it was really tough. I was wanting to read about all of it. And then Losi dropped this awesome Camaro, 69 Camaro, no prep drag car on the world. for the King of the Streets, kind of was like where they were kind of, that was the big deal thing last weekend, the weekend after USTE. And during that week right before it is when they dropped this bomb on us with some little teasers. But man, is it really pretty. I know a lot of people like this clean look of this one, but there's just something about this Summit job, the way that it looks. I'm probably going to order one that looks just like this. I like the graphics on it. It's really cool. I probably won't run the body, though. I'll probably keep it nice because not many of my things stay very nice. So we've been waiting for this. They kind of hinted at it last year that it would be coming, and it is now dropped. But we've been talking about it for a while, that if anybody was going to do it, it was going to be Losi. And they did a bang-up job with it. It looks really good. Again, they're just kind of taking a platform they have and making it work what people were already doing, kind of what Team Associated did, and what Traxxas has had available for years and people have been doing, but they haven't done as far as coming out with a ready-to-run version of it yet. So really cool to see this. And, yeah, pretty exciting. I hope it does not flop like the issues with the LMT. Don't get me going. There's definitely been some issues. I think they're blown out of water. There's a lot of people that are loving their LMTs. But they did have some axle issue that looks like they've addressed, and that's another thing that's popped up as far as a product is they've now got a webbing going into the axles on the LMT, which should hopefully address some of the issues that we're having with the braking. So people want to run them big and hard, and like we haven't ever run our solid axle trucks before with plastic axles. But yeah. So there's definitely, there's COVID issues, there's stuff going on. We've seen it with some of the plastics and things like that. So yeah, this, however, is a platform that's been around. So hopefully the part availability, the molds and stuff that they're using, the plastics, everything's kind of been around for this car. So, I mean, other than maybe stickers being put on weird or some kind of weird bubbles in the body, or I'm not sure what would go wrong here. But, yeah, I see a lot of people now posting, and, every time they get a car and they see a tire wobble, I've seen it for years since the beginning with RTRs. I think we're just getting much more because of people with videos, and we're all posting and trying to point out flaws or be the first to notice something. But like tire balancing and stuff like that, you never had that on an RTR. It was just get it out of the box. We weren't analyzing stuff. We were just putting a battery in it and we were running it. So it's an interesting nitpicky world we live in now. And we don't give these people enough slack when they're mass producing things and trying to bring all the prices down for us. $400, pretty sick car. Something we wouldn't have been able to get into at that price range 5 years ago when I started. So, yeah. So that's kind of the stuff that broke. Get back into my happy zone here, and we'll talk about USTE because it was amazing. And yeah, product reviews, drama in RC, all that kind of stuff. I'm kind of over it. Life's too short to be getting pissy about everything, and so yeah. Where do I go? kind of got rattled here. Sorry. All right, we're back. I've got some pictures here from USTE. Trying to get it loaded in. So we are back. I got it found. What an awesome time. Probably my favorite thing of the whole weekend was the 11 Charlie RC giveaway for the veterans that they had there. What a joy it was to see the smile it brought to these guys' face, and just you could see the beaming in their eyes as they were getting these and they were taking them on the trails, and they were just going at it all weekend. So much excitement around that. Awesome to see. And so I'm a huge supporter of what Javier is doing and the whole team, JB, the voice, Sean's RC Adventures, everybody that is there in that panel, in that group that was on last night. Love what you guys are doing and what you brought with you to USTE to show everybody about who you are, what you do. And it was awesome to see it firsthand and to actually see the impact that you're having on these guys and their families. So kudos to you guys on that, big time. And the vehicles that you did looked mint. The work that you did on them, the designs, they're all different. They're all different brands. They're all different, different people made them, but you could tell that they were all made with love and that they were all top notch. So you weren't giving them like just hand-me-down junk. It was the best stuff. So that was super cool to see, and definitely a supporter of that. And if you guys do make it to Badlands, we're going to help you with trucks or with whatever. So that's happening. Let me get on this picture and see if I can get it to switch. There we go. So this is with Swampers RC. Bill Boynton came out on the trail with me the first night in the rain. We went out and we walked on Trail 2, and super, super awesome trail. I didn't even get to all of them. I did Trail 2 twice. I did Trail 1 twice. We did Trail 3. We did Trail 5. And I think I did one other trail. We did the mud, though. We did the mud, and we walked the square with all the vendors many times, just hanging out and talking to people. So, yeah. But the SCX10iii, I tell you what, is one of my favorite crawlers that I've had. I haven't had a lot. I've had SCX10-1, 2, TRX4. I've had now the TF2, the Gen 8. But there's just something about it. It handles so well. It moves over everything. I put smaller wheels on mine to make it more what I thought scaled to like a realistic Jeep would be. And those Proline BF Goodrich mud trains I have on there, which are like what I have on my truck, trying to scale it out to be like mine, are awesome. So, but yeah, we had a great time on the trail. The bridges and stuff on Trail 2 were something, I mean, they were insanely made. The people that built the models for this and the bridges, it was amazing. So, yeah. The first day they had the big GCM show and shine going on, and it was very rainy, and it was sad that these guys had to put their trucks and all of their work out in the rain, but they all wanted to because, you know, they wanted their trucks to be seen. And so some of them brought their tents out if they had a tent, and some people made them available for the people that had like the wood builds and stuff that couldn't get wet. I put out my monster truck after I just finished it and stuck it in the rain. It was it was tough to do, but just for fun, just to have them be seen. It wasn't, and I also didn't realize that the monster truck showing was the next day. So, you know, I had the big one out there, the Bari build, all that stuff, basically because I wanted to run it. And later on in the weekend, I jumped it at the Basher Park, but lots of cool ones. My sons loved the Jurassic Park trucks, but I was just trying to get kind of a snapshot of all the different things available. That one's actually very beautiful right there. This is my son's favorite one right here. This Jurassic Park one in particular. There's lots of pictures of it. RC every day. I don't know where my video of this was when I put out his video. I couldn't find it, and I didn't think about the pictures I had. But his rat rod stuff is so insane. The DeLorean got wet. Yikes. Do we have attendance number for USTE? Brian Taff asked. I don't have it. I don't know it. There was a lot of people. Kevin Gibbs, I found a cool looking truck at USTE, but it was only it was a 4x4 painted out to look awesome, but I'm in talks with some people. Here's the best interior. This is Juice Box Full, or 333 Full. Is the one that made this. You can see it did get wet, but it was absolutely stunning. He converted this model that he had to wait 3 years to get all the parts for, because of whatever specific brand of models for like geeky people that they, you know, send you so many parts every month, and you just have to go from there. So, but anyway, it was absolutely fantastic. He took that thing and then he turned it into something beautiful that was RC. There was really a lot of cool. The winners of this gallery were pretty next level. This one in the back here, you can't really see it because of Jeremy's car, you know, kind of stealing the show, being up like that and blocking everybody else's view. But that is made out of metal. That whole thing is handmade out of metal. So if you crash it, you get actual dents and things like that. It's pretty sweet. And they were trying to get a truck count too, because so many people do it that way now. Best engine bay, best old truck look. You can see some of these here. Best looking SCX10iii. No, that really wasn't one, but I'm just claiming it. So there was my setup of stuff on the monster truck day, as well as Jeremy's awesome looking Bigfoot. So I just put mine out just for fun. I brought them, and we drove these little guys around at the campground, the little Axials, Can-Ams. We did the mud truck with the Bog Hog, which actually went really far. I think second or third furthest. But lots of cool mud trucks, vintage cars. Some of them were originals. Most of them are like a repop, but still looking awesome. When they raced these, it was super awesome. This dung beetle here was flying around like crazy. He was a madman. But yeah, there's mine. I did get a USTE award for best of show for a shafty truck, for this Bigfoot 11 build with the cantilever shocks. And it's actually one of my favorite trucks that I have right now. Just need to work out the shocks. But you can see they make little mini scale trophies that go with the trucks, which is really cool. Here's the monster truck racing. The vintage had just gone. I don't know why I was videoing all the vintage stuff. And when I was recording the monster trucks on my phone, I realized I could just take pictures at the same time I was doing video. Oh no, I remember what it was. I took pictures because Horizon had asked me to send them some photos, and there were Axials running and Losis, so that's why I took pictures of that. Here you can see Javier's group up here on the hill running their trucks. The J Concepts 250 79 F250 here with an awesome paint job on it that Rich from J Concepts was running on a SCX10 II, I believe. Went out with him and Exo Cage, and it was a ton of fun on the trail. But yeah, stuff like this that they had cut out of trees, like little things you could drive through. There's Jeremy getting ready to do a belly flop into the not mud. It's like a mud manure mixture because of all the horses around the area. But we threw our trucks in it too, so I brought some of that mud manure home with me. You can see it's just thick, and you could not make it far. It was just sucking the trucks right in. It was really something else. So here's the Exo Caged SCX10 III, which is actually way better than mine. He's got so many upgrades to his and weights and all that. It performed insanely out there. So I might argue that mine's better looking, but I mean, that's a toss up. That's personal preference. Personal preference. Nah, his is definitely looking awesome with his axles and stuff. Mine, I've kept it clean because I wanted it to look like my truck. So here's my son was actually on Sunday. My boys did come out finally, and they ran with us on the trail. And we did all of Trail 2 except for the mud. But Jeremy's wanting to FaceTime me and crash the show. Yeah, Rockbound Joe is an upgrading machine. His stuff was insane. All the brass on it. It looked very good. I'm going to start doing that to some more of mine. Maybe. I honestly don't want to take apart the... I built it was a kit. So I built the kit version of the SCX10 III. And I really honestly don't feel like taking the axles back apart to put them into something else. That's basically what it is. Those portals are not my favorite thing in the world to work on. So yes, RC Voodoo. So there's an interior rocking in here. He sees it. But I got that from him, and it's an amazing fit. How it works into this is unreal. And it looks really good. It's almost as good as those wheels do, because those wheels look pretty amazing. But this is, I mean, you can see I'd sticker up that SCX10 III if I wasn't trying to make it look like my real Jeep. But too many pictures of that. We took the capper out, which actually wasn't too big or too overpowered or anything for the trail. My son actually had a blast with it out there. So yeah, that had a good run. This is the Mississippi RC Addict. If you don't follow them on Instagram, you should. You're missing out. Here you go. Kevin Gibbs says Exo Cage is definitely my go-to guy before I upgrade. Barbecue. Sean's RC Adventure Barbecue. I seen you kicking rocks at CCXRC. Yeah, man, he sent a scale boulder down the hill on Hill 1 and slammed it right into the side of my Gen 8. It was pretty hysterical. So I do need to get some lights, I guess, for the buckets of this. Finish that out, scale it out the rest of the way there. We do have a winch on there that works. My son made us use it, even though there's no way my SCX10iii was getting stuck on the trail. We faked it. But you can see the scale work that they've done here with the bridge and then having that in the background with that little house back there. Super cool. This actually was a working little water mill type thing. And yeah, pretty cool. That's the end of that trail. And then more, I had to get a bunch of pictures of this because my son wanted to send them to his grandpa. So there's my trophy glowing. And here's the 11 Charlie guys on the trail, all lined up. The TF2 out on the trail, which did okay. Not nearly as good as Joe or Rich's trucks did. It was handicapped in a couple ways. One being a TF2, and number two, it was leaf spring TF2, and number two, that I was only running 3-wheel drive. So what happened is the way that those wheels go on is they don't have a hex. They literally just go on the pin. And so when that nut had backed off that wheel a little, it wasn't on the pin anymore. And so it's just spinning freely. Luckily, I didn't lose the pin. And actually, Joe mentioned something like, I wonder, is it on the hub, or, what, is it on the hex? And next thing you know, the wheel goes rolling off. The nut came off. And then, it was almost like split second. It was so funny how it happened. And ended up wrenching it back on. And then it was much better. But overall, yeah, it did really well. I did not show one of the things that it just couldn't do. I tried to get up this one log thing, and it just didn't have the width, and it wasn't worth wasting your time. We just showed Joe's truck mastering it. So right here on the front, you guys, if you haven't seen these before, right here, this is by DSM Off-Road, and it's like a recovery strap that's like a winch, but it's like a bungee cord. And it's got like what you'd have like a spool basically at the back of your car. I don't know if I'm getting this exactly right, but basically you tie it off to your vehicle somewhere toward the front. You route it to the back around that spool. Then you bring the hook out the front. So it gives it a lot of length that you can actually pull on that bungee and take it out pretty far and then hook it onto something, and it'll pull your car just using that strength of that bungee to kind of pull you in. Amazingly quick. You're not like waiting. You don't need an extra channel on your receiver to run a winch and all that. And it's a really cool thing. I hadn't seen it until this weekend. And they're not expensive either. I think they're under $20, something like that. Pull Pal. Earl Moorhead, did you use a scale jack? No, we handed got it a couple times. A key pulley, that'll work too. Tank RC uses like the little lanyard pulls. Yeah. Yep, DSM Off-Road. If you're in a competition, it's super fast. Yeah, retractable keychain works. I don't think it has quite the pull though that that a bungee has. But yeah, pretty cool. So that I think is pretty much the end of those pictures. Yes. The weekend was pretty awesome because we did end up over at Universal and did the Harry Potter stuff. We hit Monster Jam, which was really awesome because all the big guys were there. Adam Anderson, Ryan Anderson, Bryce Kenny, Kristen Anderson, Tom Mintz was there, like all the big names. And then Scott Douglas and Dennis Anderson were inducted into the Monster Jam Hall of Fame, which was super cool. So there's giving their speeches. And Dennis got to do a lap in a Gravedigger. If you look even, It has the zoomies on it. So I don't know which Gravedigger that is, but it was super cool to see it there. Bari in the zombie. Anyway, awesome time. Awesome time at the Monster Jam. And it was like pod seating, so in a stadium that can hold like 40,000 or some huge number of people, it was very, very limited seating because they were selling them in pods and people couldn't sit in front of you or behind you or next to you. So it was actually a really fun way to watch, but it's, you know, that they're not making the money they should be, which is what stinks about it. But it made for a really great experience at the end of that week. And so it was a pretty packed week. I'm still trying to edit everything from it. Still trying to get through all the stuff, the footage of the run with my boys on Trail 2, which should look awesome. But yeah, there's so many. Says 25 on the nose. Okay, is that how much it costs? Active recovery system or kinetic winch is what they're saying. Okay. It doesn't have a ton of pull. There's just enough that when you add your power behind your wheels, it can help you get over things. From what I saw, it wasn't like when he was pulling it, it wasn't pulling the car. It was just pulling out to hook on, and then it gave enough tension that it gave you something to pull against. Oh, it's number 25. Is that what you're saying? It looked like on the nose of it was 36. I don't know if that was the year they were running after the 35th anniversary or what. There's an XXXVI, but the zoomies and stuff look really cool on it. I'm not big on all those numbers of what truck was what number what. I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's number 17 or whatever. Yeah, it's hard to see. You have to zoom in on it. I mean, in the gray or the silver, you see the XXV. But if I zoom in on it, whoops. I guess I can zoom in out for you guys to see. You can see the little 1, and you can see the X over here too. But it's mainly this little tick mark coming off here that lets you know there is that I, because it's buried in that. Yeah, here he is after his little lap he did around. It's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome to see. What's going on, Brett? Trail Critter RC joined in. So as far as USTE goes, would I go back? I would definitely go back. It sounds like it grows every year. The people that were there, you saw some new stuff come out. So Reefs RC had a really awesome new tool that's coming out. Some of us have stuff that's like it that comes in like the bag, like the Power Hobbies all-in-one tool. Well, the Reefs one is like next level, and it actually has like a wheel nut remover and stuff like that on it. And then they had a new winch coming. They had the new drag wheels and stuff there. You could see the crawler wheels there. J Concepts has some new metal wheels coming for crawlers and new tires that are coming, and a new body. So like, you know, those kind of dovetailed or, I don't know what they call it when they bring in the nose and the rear of the truck to make it more like a comp crawler. I'm blanking on the name of it, but they had a Ford like that. And I ended up buying the Jeeper Creeper or whatever, the Creeper body, Jeeper Creeper, the Creeper body, while I was there. And I also got some landmines while I was there. And I decided I was going to get the smaller ones and run them on something because they have it in two different in heights. But I realized I probably want to have it on my Gen 8. And so I did end up getting the bigger ones, the JCI Creep crawler body. That's what I got. And I can't wait to put that on something. I've been looking at Vanquish rigs for a while. I'm a little on the holding pattern for that because they are out of stock everywhere, including at Vanquish. And so I'm waiting to see if there's any changes or minor things done to it when it comes back in stock, or if they do something different, because they had the original one, and then they did the VS410, and then they did the Ultra. And so I'm kind of just waiting to see if there's going to be, like, when they make a new kit, if it's going to be the exact same, which I'm fine with. I would get the Pro one. I know Sean's dying over there, but that's probably what I would get just for the more scale feel. We don't have all the crazy stuff here. We have dirt. And so I like the scale look of it. So I'll probably do that. Has anybody, I just saw that Outsourced RC got a Rift from Axial. Has anybody else got their Rift in? Two new Rangers. He laughs, but I have a use for both. Okay. Juicebox says Creeper is a good body. I don't know why you always call it the Creeper. They just call it the Creep. Exo Cage, we know he loves the Creep. And I was trying to get one before I went to the event, but they don't carry the J Concepts crawler bodies at my local shop, so I couldn't. But I love the look of it, like that Bog Hog style or the Creep style. I love it. Dovetailed, pinched, bobbed. That's it. DG RC Dennis nailed it. I said the dovetailed, but it didn't feel right saying it that way. Tucked body, yes. So Sean, RC Adventures, the stuff that he started for this USTE, I don't think should count for him for next USTE. I think he has to start over with his builds. But yeah, Cody says he's waiting for the Rift kit. So yeah, I saw Outsource had one. He said it cost $500 or whatever it was. So I don't know if he got it locally at a shop, or I looked on my Hobbytown website and they didn't have it in stock. Because I did not pre-order one, but I kind of was like, Yes, JER Custom Designs, you definitely want to go next year, man. Jason, you would have really enjoyed, the Basher Park, the big air stuff. I could see you sending stuff off that. But the little monster truck race was so much fun. I know it was tight and whatever, and it's just for fun. There's not really a real winner. You're counting your own laps, whatever. So you can't have it be very competitive because, it's hard to count your own laps when somebody says 6 next to you. Sometimes you'll just say 7, even if you're not on 7, just because you're counting up for what you just heard. It's really tough. So, but yeah, it was really fun. Really fun. But yeah, I think you would really have a blast there. And they actually, if you get in with JER, if you get in with them early, you can get a booth and stuff to set up and show all the different things that you have available. So lots of people were selling stuff there. So RC Addict was there. I saw Cody was there with Dixieland RC. There was a ton of different vendors there. Reefs was there. J Concepts was there. Red Cat was partnered up with Reefs. I'm trying to go around because you also had the influencers and stuff there. So you had Exo Cage there. You had Big Squid there. RC Supremacy was there. Scale Fab was there. Element RC was there. RC Addict. I'm trying to think of who was around next to them. And then Team Associated Element. Anyway, tons of people there. Florida, there were some of the Florida shops that were there as well. But yeah. It's probably one of the best events, most well-run events that I've been to. And I haven't been to a lot of them. It had a lot to do. It was organized. It almost had too much to do in some ways. So like as the person trying to film it, I hardly got to the trail because there was always something you could be doing in the main area. Now that wasn't a problem for everybody that got there because a lot of people just got there and they hit the trails. Like they signed in and they wanted to get on the trails because they wanted to hit as many as they could. For me, I was in the middle, just hanging out, talking, getting video, interviewing people, looking at what was available, waiting to film whatever was happening in that little square. So I didn't get out as much to the trail because of that. So next year I'd probably work it a little different, but like you don't want to miss the show and shine if you're videoing because that's when all the trucks are out. So you definitely want to be back for that. There was a lot of rain, so I was staying out of that. But there were a couple other little things going on, just meeting everybody. And then I did go out with Swampers RC. So that was the only time I went out on Friday. But I guess if it wasn't raining, I probably would have got more done on Friday and had then also more time on Saturday to be out. But when we got there, it was monster trucks and buggy racing. So it started right away. Get there, put your monster trucks out. They did all the judging. Then they did the buggy racing. Then they did the monster truck racing. And then that's when I went out to the trail and hit several of them. And then came back. So I went out with 11 Charlie and them on Hill 1. Anyway, there's a lot going on. So the one thing that I would do next time is try to camp closer at the Devil's Den or whatever it is that's right next door. But of course that was sold out because I didn't know I was going until like a month before the event. So Rob had reached out to me to see if I wanted to come, if I wanted to have a booth. But by the time I decided everything was, solidified. They had their square of people, which is fine. I don't think I would want to man a booth. And because I want to be out filming the whole time. So it would just be having one set up to have, I don't know, a TV running or something, or a place to put my stuff that people could look at while I'm out doing other stuff and not there. I would not want to have to man it. Because as it was without manning a booth, I was super busy. I don't know how Exo Cage did it. So, but yeah. We stayed in North Ocala RV Park, which was near 75. It was about a 25-minute drive. And actually on the way out of there, it was really sketch. Not most of the time. You drive by some of the most expensive horse farms I've ever seen along the main road that we took from 75. You went down one road all the way to like the main road going into Williston. And that road that you got onto went through the little town. But where that turn was on the way back, you have to cut across like the 2 lanes there. And there's a gas station. There's all these people around it. There's cars parked all over the grass. And then there's all these police at the gas station. So it's like something happened at the gas station. Somebody called their friend. They all just drove over to come and watch and see what was happening. I have no idea what was going on, but there was people everywhere. And I'm like, should I be going through here? What's going on? But yeah, it was a little bit sketch. But yeah, so as soon as I find out the dates, I'll probably try to make reservations at Devil's Den, because that's the one thing that I would want, is that I did not have the like the evening hangouts or any of that, which would mean that I could hang out less in some ways at the event. You'd still hang out with people, but you have more kind of the crazy fun hangout stuff in the evenings. But yeah, if I could get closer, that would be, or even rent a house and maybe not camp, do an Airbnb or something a little bit closer, where I could do the drag racing and all that people did in the parking lot. RC Basher Boy says next year he'll definitely be there. Juice box full. So Jeremy only got 3 trails in. So the other thing, like if they were asking, the biggest things that I saw were, and it was super well organized and everything ran great, but there was a ton of people and there was only one food truck, and the type of food that the food truck was serving was like burgers and stuff, which you can't make fast enough. It's not like where it's already pre-made and you're just heating it and scooping it. And so there was like 2-hour delays on getting food that you ordered. And then they finally just said, we're not taking any more orders because we just need to fulfill what we have. So there wasn't food options. But then this, like, the food people just were so overwhelmed they didn't open or something the other days. I don't even know what happened after that whole problem, because I didn't remember seeing them open on Sunday. And when they were, it was like really late. So I don't know if they just serviced the normal park on a normal weekend, and so we were like overkilling them, or because it was on this gardens place. So, I mean, more food trucks would be awesome, or even just somebody that was a vendor that was selling like bottled water or sodas or whatever, because one of the days my kids were supposed to be in charge of grabbing our water bottles on the day that we went, and they didn't bring any. So we said, go grab like 6 of them, put them in the Jeep, and they just didn't. And by the time we got on the road, we didn't realize it, and we got there. And luckily people, hooked us up. 11 Charlie gave us a couple water bottles. But it was just like, I tried to buy them from the vendor, but the vendor never opened like that whole day. So, yeah, it needs to be something faster. And then if it's not the event or somebody, but somebody that just sold water bottles would be so easy to do, and they could make a killing from it probably, even if they only marked them $1. Because what does it cost? Like $4 to buy a 48 pack of them, and if you sold them for $1 each, you sold 5 of them, and you've made your money back. So maybe I'll open a water vending booth next year at USTE and sell refreshments. I don't know. But that was the one small thing. It wasn't a big, you could jump in your car and leave and come back if you wanted, but you didn't want to leave because there was so much going on and it was so much fun. So it would be a prime opportunity for somebody to make a killing that weekend. Other than that, the only other thing would be if it's going to get bigger and they talk about moving where all the vendors and stuff are, it might be worth, and I told this to somebody the other day. I don't remember who I was talking with, but it might be worthwhile to have like a trailer attached to a truck that just drove people to the further out trails, because like some of the trails are at the entry and it's a hike. Like I wouldn't even thought about going to them, because if I wanted to make it back for any of the events, there's no time I could go out, hit the trail and be back and catch the event, because I'd probably be looking at 30 minutes walking there, 30 minutes walking back, plus the hour or 2 on the trail. So you're looking at, a 2 to 3 hour trail. But if you could get just ride that would just kind of drop you there and also be a pickup, would really help. But yeah, Scale RC Monsters, what did I bring? I'd bring a bunch of coolers and just sit there selling them out of my truck. Pop up a tent, $2 for a water, price gouging. You need it. It's stinking Florida, man. It got hot one of those days. On Sunday, it was warm. Saturday it was perfect, actually. Perfect weather. But the trails are some of the most amazing trails. They're not necessarily the most difficult trails, but they're the most scale and kind of fun for just leisurely going at it. And there were some moments where I know they were like dollhouse trails where I'm like, if it's dollhouse, it's a tricky trail for a dollhouse. That's for sure. You could roll it. That one that goes up that tree, number 3, we kind of bailed on that one because we were trying to get to the end long bridge before the sun went out on us. But, and all of the 11 Charlie guys were there doing it, and we helped and filmed some of that and got some footage of it. But to just kind of move on, we just kind of said, we're just going to skip it and just push and like go as fast as we can to get to the end. But it was amazing to see it all and to see the work that they put in for a 3-day weekend. It's not like a permanent park. They set it all up ahead of time, and then that's it. It's done for the year. Nobody drives the trails again until next year. So it's a lot of work that they put in for this event, and it's evident. It's so amazing. But it would be cool because I bet if they polled people and tried to find out how many people made it to the trails that were at the farthest part of I think it's going to be exponentially lower than the people that do the ones that are just around. And I think part of it's just going to be that walk. But if there was an easier way to get there, I know they had to do something like that for Axial Fest Badlands because all of the trails were a ways away. So either you took the one trail that was off the parking and you rode that all the way in, and then all the trails were off of that. But that was a pain because every time you'd end up doing that trail and you'd spend too much time, but you just catch the trolley in and ride in the back. But yeah, that'd be my only suggestions. They're small. I think the rest of it, they've nailed it. But the problem with doing something like that is, again, it's more volunteers, and they're already asking a lot of volunteers. So, you know, it's that double-edged sword where it's like, do we put in all of that time and effort, but nobody gets to use it? You know, if I built these cool docks and all of this stuff on the water, but like 30 people went to it instead of 500 or however many were there. There might have been Grubhub delivery, Earl Moorhead. Somebody said something about that. I've never actually ever ordered any of that. I've never used Uber Eats. I've never used Grubhub, so I'd have to have downloaded it and signed up. It just seemed like more work than just going out to the local Winn-Dixie. But I guess there was parking too up toward the front. I guess you could drive up there and park. I never asked about that. But some of them I know, like 8, 9, 10 kind of went to the next. But there's still a walk to get to that first one. Anyway. It was well done. And everyone kept telling me I should go try that one. I couldn't get to it because I wanted to be at the main area to film, like when the Bachelor Park happened or that. So we just did Trail 2 again. And then the boys definitely wanted to do Trail 1, which was that big hill that they have there, which is actually a lot of fun. Really sketchy climbing it at times. Saw a couple people slide off it. Not like dangerously, but they definitely lost their footing or slid down the hill. And one of them went down into the bushes. It was kind of funny because they were all laughing about it. How many people do you think were at USTE? Who would want to wager a guess on that was there? JB, how many do you think were there on Saturday? It was busy. $591. JB's Virtual Garage says. I'm not sure. I was guessing probably in that 600 range. It's hard to say though. Counting people's tough, but when you saw the cars and stuff too, and you realize how many people were in a car, yeah, I would say it's over 600. Yeah, barbecue, ate at Bubba Q's barbecue after USTE and just had to. I saw that place. I totally would have eaten there. But it was a well-attended event. The grounds were great for it. The rain made it tough the first day because of people getting stuck in the mud in the parking. So it was just in grass. And as more people drove over it, I mean, it was a pretty good rain. And it became like a mud hole. So I had my Jeep. That wasn't a big deal for me. I just put it in 4, went through it. But again, it's unbelievable what they put together with the scale buildings and all the work that they do to it. It was pretty fantastic. Totally different vibe than Badlands. Badlands wasn't good, better or worse. It was just different because of the terrain. Because I enjoy that terrain as well with the rocks. Very scale type rock crawling, but like not extreme rock crawling. You could do it with your SCX10s and all that at Axial Fest. So just different. JB said close to 600 on Sunday. Okay. Tommy Martin says 567 was last count he heard. Okay. Yeah. JER says, are you going to Diggers this year? I'm pretty sure that I'm going to Diggers this year. It's less than an hour from my place. So I usually just go there and stay for the weekend. If it's open to do that, I'll definitely be there, as long as I'm not traveling for work or something. Oh, this is awesome. Fantasy Island RC Mr. Rourke. That's quite a name. Says, I did all 10 courses and 4 of them twice with 3 different rigs. Wow. USTE was excellent. How long did it take you, unless you just linked them one after the other, which I know some of the people just came to hit the trails and that's what they did. But how far away was that furthest one walking? Was it really like if you were just to walk from where you parked or from registration to the opening of that trail, how long would you say it was? 20 minutes, 15 minutes, 10? Am I way overshooting how far it seemed? Maybe I am, because people drove so slow through there because the road is pretty broken up. You felt like you were off-roading when you were in the Jeep. So they had 590 chips in the door prize drawing on Sunday. So, but then there's people like my wife who were just a spectator and she didn't get a chip. So I wonder how many of those there were. There's definitely an attendance fee because the park requires the fee to just be at the park. So I think it was $15, something like that, to be there for the day. I don't remember. Okay, so you just went course to course to course. Now, when you came back, though, from the last course, did you run them all the way backwards, or did you just walk the road back after you were done? I'm just curious how far out that one was. So Diggers, so here's the difference. The Diggers event doesn't quite have like the vendors. not the same way set up. There's usually a few set up. It's definitely not the feel that you had at USTE, where everything was kind of in like its own little town thing, that they kind of, all the tents faced inward and there was a little something in the middle, you know, a little track or whatever they wanted. It was off limits until the racing. And then they had the semi truck set up in the middle and all that. And then everything was around the outside. And then you'd go out from there to go to the trails. But you always had that one place you come back to and there was something to do. Where, because it's racing, it's a little different. There's like, when it's not your turn to be doing something at the monster truck races at Digger's Dungeon, for instance, it's a 3 or 4 day weekend. Other than just hanging out with people at your tent or your car, there's not really a lot to do. Now, the first year I think I went, or the second year, the Andersons were all there and they had their camper set up and they'd brought a whole bunch of wood jumps and there was like this area where you could just kind of play with bashers and whatever. And so, I remember it's probably my first year because I remember I took that like V-Car Bison and was just, you know, thrashing it out there. But other than that, it's a lot of waiting, where at USTE, there was always something happening that you could go and watch or do. Either you could participate in or you could watch. So it's just different type of event. But I love going for the racing stuff and hanging out, and, you know, a lot of people are just working on their cars, wrenching, trying to make it go faster, do, you know, whatever. It's just a different vibe completely. So. All right. See you, DGRC Dennis. 4, 8, 9, and 10 took 5 hours to do it. Wow. Yeah. That's pretty crazy. But that's awesome that the trails are that intense and that long. Wow. That's awesome. So next time I think it would be easier if you're not thinking about just walking all the way. If you could just do one and jump on the next one, and that's a different way of thinking about it. So I got to do it that way next time. Well, what about all the people working? What was that about, JB? Oh, as far as counting? Yeah, there was a lot of people working too. And they probably weren't counted in that drawing list. With a Gen 2 V8 dollhouse. Nice. What's going on, Black Ops? JB, the voice says it was great. It gives you a chance to hang out and crawl with people you might not get to crawl with. Like Tony. We did get to hang out. It was super cool to hang out with people that I've talked with on live chats and all that all the time. Like the first day, Bill Boynton and I went out and hit the trail. It was super fun. Then with 11 Charlie, JB, the voice, you know, just hang out with them even around their tent and stuff. Super cool. Kevin, plot your route. It's still a lot of walking, man. And especially if you had a truck breakdown or whatever. I know we didn't get to crawl together. We saw each other on the trail, though. I think you were on the one next to us. We did get to crawl together, though, at Badlands, though, Jeremy and I. And that was a ton of fun. We both took our Capras out, and that was wicked fun. I almost came looking for you for a battery, but I ended up finding another one for my Capra. What's going on, RCT&D? So the cool thing was, you know, with COVID and all that kind of junk going on, the nice thing was that you could find space that was all your own, whether on the trails. You could get away and just kind of, if you didn't really want to be around people, you could do the registration and then just get on the trail. And then you're kind of alone. You know, people would bump up, you know, to you or whatever, and we'd let them pass because I was usually filming, which meant we were going slow, which is why they'd catch us. But yeah. Axial Fest, wait till this year. Oh my gosh. So I ordered a UMG last night. I've been looking to Vanquishes and I had the money for it, but I'm not willing to do it. There's one on eBay I could get from A-Main. But if nobody else has it, I'm not willing to drop it right now. But Brian Parker was at USTE and he was driving the coolest UMG. And I've always thought the UMGs were cool. In fact, I just talked about trying to get one before this event. And but I didn't have time to build it. And so after seeing his and other ones at UFC, I had to order it. So the Vanquish will wait, which means my creep body will wait. But yeah, I just need to find somebody to paint it cool. Yeah, man, you got to get there. Basher boy. So I'm also looking at potentially going to Stone Mountain in May. The hard part is it's the weekend before the Digger's Dungeon race, because that's always Memorial Day weekend, which is May 25th-ish, around that weekend. So that's the hard part, is 2 big weekends in a row being gone. I don't know that that'll work family-wise, so we'll see. Yeah, Trail Critter, if you made it down, that'd be super cool. Again, it's one of the coolest events I've been to, and I haven't been to a lot of crawling events, but I don't like competition. Like, I'm not huge into competition. I'm not, like, super competitive. Like, I get competitive, but it's not, like, what drives me. Like, some people are driven by being the best, and that's not something that drives me. People drive me, community drives me, that kind of stuff. And I like a little friendly competition, you know, stuff going on like, hey, can you make that? I bet I can, you know, that kind of stuff, but not where the whole thing is bent around competition. So I've seen like some of the RC for World Drives comps and stuff have come through, and I've just never even wanted to go. And that's why when I went to Badlands, there were competitions, which is cool. I'm glad that they did it that way. Like, you could compete, but you didn't have to. Like, we could run any of the trails pretty much any time during the weekends there, and they were open, because the way that they did the competitions didn't really tie any of them up during most of the regular crawl time. And so it was a big hangout, and I loved it. And so when I heard that that's what USTE was like, I'm like, well, that sounds like the kind of thing I want to be at. So they were right. Jeremy was right, because he's the one that told me, like, you need to come next year. And I said, all right, dude, I'll do it. And then COVID hit, and it all kind of fell out to the wayside until like the month before, when I could finally say, well, because, you know, with the whole presidential thing, there's this talk that the U.S. was going to shut down for a month, or what. We didn't know what was going to happen. Like, the news is just like doom and gloom. The world's going to end. Oh, wait, nope, they didn't actually do that. But we had you worried and we had you watching. So, yay, we make money. But so I didn't want to drop money, and I didn't want to commit to anything that I didn't know that we'd be able to do. So we just kind of held off to the last month. And when nothing shut down, we said, let's go for it. And it was an awesome reprieve. You know, the funny thing is, you know, as sick as everybody is, and, you know, not making light of it, because I know people that have been personally impacted by it. But I didn't hear anybody cough when I was out there. you know, everywhere else that we went to Universal. I didn't ever see anybody check for having a fever. There weren't anybody coughing in the lines at Universal, which was also spaced out. They had spots where you stand so that you always were more than 6 feet away from each other, and you had to wear masks the whole time. But you know, they were operating, not like normal, but they were operating, and it was pretty cool to see, since we have such limited gatherings here. But they found a way to just kind of make it what seemed like pretty safe. But yeah, I just saw like Texas and everybody's just going to no mask requirements and stuff. It's crazy. Using the $5 words again. What? What word was worth $5? I'm not a big words kind of guy. I used to make fun of my wife in college, calling her bigwords.com, because it used to be a site back in the day they could go to, like thesaurus type stuff. And so she always used big words, and I'd call her bigwords.com. But yeah. Yeah, $5 won't get you a foot long from Subway anymore. Not a big deal. All right, Stone Mountain and Badlands will be its only 2 this year. That's cool, Kevin. I'm trying to make it work, but it would be Stone Mountain would be May 17th, 18th, somewhere in there. Look. May. Oh, I don't know when it was. So Memorial Day weekend's the 28th, 9th, 30th, 31st. The 31st is Memorial Day. So when is Stone Mountain? Is it like the 15th or the 22nd? You guys know that kind of stuff. I'm terrible with dates. Which is also why I'm so last minute. But the Digger weekend is probably going to be the 28th through the 31st. I think they actually do it the 27th through the 30th. They end on the 30th. The Thursday night, I think they do, people can come and pre-register, and they can just go ahead and get their qualification done, qualify all their trucks to make it easier on Friday for qualifying. Then racing on the 29th and 30th, and then freestyle. What about the Monster Jam video I did a day ago? That was last weekend. So that was on Saturday, this past Saturday. So that was on the 27th of February. So anyway, so if I did it, so it's on the 15th, May 15th. Thank you, Sean. So there would be a gap in there. So it'd be the 15th would be Stone Mountain. The 28th through the 30th would be Digger's Dungeon. And then in June is when that first weekend is Horizon Fest, or the second. And then they've got later in the month Axial Fest. So I probably wouldn't go to Horizon Fest again because there's not as much for. It's awesome. It's a really awesome event, but it's really plane centric. They have buggy racing, but everything feels disjointed in a little bit of a way. Like I never really went to see what the racing was doing. They had a little basher area, and Big Squid had a really cool sumo thing. You could just go out and run and do that kind of stuff. And they had a cool crawler setup right there. But a lot of it was really all the announcing. Most of the stuff that was going on was all related to the planes and the helicopters that were flying and doing all the different shows. So if I were to have to choose between Horizon Fest or Badlands, I personally would go to Badlands because it would all be centric to driving and doing ground related vehicles. But if it wasn't so far away, I'd totally go to both because it's still amazing fun. Like those planes are wicked awesome. And when they fly through the fire and they do all that kind of stuff, it's really impressive to watch. And they have monster truck racing. So be able to do that. So we'll see. And the thing with the Badlands is it's in Indiana instead of Illinois. And so there's less restrictions. Or there were. I mean, Illinois had so many. Okay, Mike Upton says he flies too, so that's awesome. And so it was cool the year we went because they had the new Armas out and they were running those down the drag or the runway, and it was a great spot for them to just really open them up, show us what they could do. I guess they could do that with the drag car from Losi this year. But the Badlands is like a camping out whatever weekend. It's super cool. There's 1-to-1 jeeping too if you want to do that. Or you can rent like side by sides and all that kind of stuff. It's a wicked cool place. So AC Froggies, they have a West Coast Axial Fest as well. If they can do it. But yeah. Anyway, USTE, if you're into scale stuff and you love crawling, you should definitely go to it. It's kind of like, I don't know. I mean, some people would say the Pro Line by the Fire is the event to go to. It's a long way. So if you're kind of Midwest over and you're looking for something to go to that you can drive to, USTE is pretty amazing. It's special. It's kind of in the middle of nowhere, but that's also pretty cool. We are middle of nowhere Westerners. Texas is tough. Texas is tough. You probably would be best going up to Badlands, but it depends how far, where you are in Texas, I guess. RC Everyday is from Texas, and he came to USTE, so there's that. You could do it. Yeah, Arizona and West Texas is the middle of nowhere. Yeah. If you're on the west side of Arizona, you're not too bad. Yeah. The Horizon Fest is its special thing, and that's just at their headquarters. The Pro Line by the Fire is something that sounds like it'd be a fun event to be at. I'd like to try to get out to something like that sometime. There's a place too just south of us, about 3 hours from me, in North Carolina. What are they called? DBRC trails? What are they called? Some of you guys are in the group. DLB. That's it. DLB. And they're wicked cool. And RC Four-Wheel Drive does an event there. And they're actually doing it Sunday, April 25th. They're doing an overland expedition at the trails there. So that might be something to look into. It looks like a pretty amazing trail as well. And that's not far. It's in Trinity, North Carolina. Oh, see, the Central Carolina Hobbies got the Rift. Interesting. I wonder why my Hobby Town didn't have them. They say they're expected March 18th. Interesting. All right, we'll see RC show off. I got to get going here soon too. I'm losing, my voice is cracking. Need a quick drink. Yeah, anyway. DLB RC Trails, you guys should check that out if you haven't looked them up. It looks very impressive. Some of my buddies here in Virginia have mentioned going there. And just we've never made it. But it looks really cool. And the terrain looks pretty awesome. And April would be a good time to go before it gets too hot. So, anyway. I think that about wraps it up, guys. Sorry for going MIA there for a minute. It's getting a little bit off the rails. And, yeah. Got a lot going on. Right before we went to Florida, my brother wound up in the hospital in ICU, and he's been there for, well, he's still in there. So he'd gone out of ICU 2 days ago, but it sounds like things got messed up again tonight. So he's back close to ICU, and what they're trying to work on doesn't sound good. So anyway, just a lot going on in my head, and people getting pissy about RCs gets me kind of pissed off. So they're just toys. And, you know, we want things to be right, but ain't nothing right in the world. You know, I pay a lot of money for my phone internet to work, and it doesn't always work. It's the brakes. Sometimes we buy a car and the wheels aren't glued properly, and I'm not going to bitch out some kid making way too little to glue these tires on for us. So that kind of stuff, I just get a little pissy about. Stuff happens. We live in one of the greatest countries in the world. They take care of us. We contact the companies. So for the most part, unless they can tell you just being an idiot when you drive, which is obvious sometimes. You look at some of them and you're like, yeah, you did what with it? Yeah, just a little slap wheelie. Doesn't look like it. But yeah. Anyway, that's all going on. It was a pretty brutal time actually being at USTE, not knowing if we were going to be leaving or whatever. But I mean, it was on the edge there that whole time we were driving there and there. So didn't start looking somewhat good until Friday, and then they can't get rid of whatever internal infection he's got. So it reminds you of kind of what's important, but and what's not important. You know, all this kind of crap. It's fun, but it's really not that important. What's important is the way it brings people together. And so when you see it making people be divisive and bringing out anger and all that other kind of stuff, it's kind of like, really? Let's get over it. And then I get angry about people being angry, and then it's like, it's this vicious circle, right? It's not even being as angry as being saddened by it, but yeah. Anyway, yeah, USTE, totally worth it. Badlands, totally worth it. If you're into monster truck racing and you don't mind just hanging out, you know, for your 30-second races, the Diggers Dungeons, and it's a ton of fun. And you'll never see so many RC monster trucks in one place ever. It's really cool to just see all the different setups people run, to watch how they run. So a lot of it's spectating. So if you're into spectating that and you don't mind it while you hang out, it's a pretty awesome event. So, yeah. Anyway, thanks everybody for the prayers that I mentioned there. And, yeah, we just keep praying and seeing. Basically need a miracle at this point, but you just keep praying for that and seeing what the doctors and modern medicine can see. And sometimes it just needs somebody right now, a nurse, when it was getting real bad today, to say we just need to do whatever it was she did that got through whatever they were going through. But anyway, we'll see you guys on the trail. I got lots of USTE stuff coming, more build stuff coming, scalar fab parts from my SCX10iii. We've got the Freestyle RC ZEI videos. It's already done, but I'm finally getting to edit the videos on the build for that. Still need to do the finals showing it working and all the force steer and all the cool stuff with the body that I got from Josh Rhodes. Thank you, Josh, again for hooking me up. And yeah, you guys are awesome. Best people out there, and we'll catch you later.